What's happening? Paul Farahvar here. This is not time for another episode of Why Are You Awake, but this is actually a time to go back and watch or listen to some of the old episodes of Singles Only podcast. Before I had Why Are You Awake, a podcast I started last year, I had an award-winning podcast called Singles Only. A lot of people listened to it. It was not on video, but now I'm putting them on YouTube because I need content there, and it's taking me a lot longer to record some of my Why Are You Awake episodes because I'm traveling and there's just takes so much time to edit. But anyway, this is an episode with comedian Kristen Toomey, one of my dear friends from way back when in 2017. And then there's another one that's going to be released a year later. So it's a really fun transition from when Kristen became single. Make sure you follow her if you don't already. Stay tuned for some more episodes of Why Are You Awake. Thank you for listening or watching. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube. That's the goal here. All right, thanks. Welcome to another edition of Singles Only Podcast. My name is Paul Farahvar, as always, and tonight's guest is Kristen Toomey, an amazing comedian. And also, riding shotgun is the voice of reason, my friend, Patti Vasquez. Now, I want to give a shout out really quick to my friend Scott Shapiro. Some of you guys have heard about me talking about being a lawyer, but if you actually have been injured on the job and need compensation, you may be entitled to payment for not only your medical treatment, but payment while you are off work. Scott Shapiro has been helping injured workers for almost 20 years. Contact him, 312-648-8800, or email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. The law offices of Scott B. Shapiro are a full-service law firm, and in addition to workers' compensation cases and work injuries, the law office can handle any and all of your legal needs. All consultations free of charge, so do not take a chance and wait. Call him at 312-648-8800 or check out his website at www.scottshapirolegal.com. Tell him Paul sent you. And now for another edition of Singles Only Podcast.
Easy came and easy went. Mama said there's days like this.
Welcome to Singles Only. My name is Paul Farahvar, and riding shotgun as the voice of reason, my friend, Patti Vasquez. Hi, Patti.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
Thanks for being here and making sure we're sane and make sense to the rest of the world.
My goal is to now become unreasonable so that you never want to have me back.
The voice of reason.
It's going to be completely unreasonable.
Yeah, that's a good way to get out of it. That makes sense. I don't know.
I wouldn't do that to your guests.
Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for being here. But we have a very special guest, an amazing comedian, great friend, and super funny Kristen Toomey.
Hi, thank you. That's a very nice intro, Paul. Hi, Patti. Hi, Paul.
Hi, it's weird because I, at one point, wanted you to be on the show as the voice of reason. I remember I talked to you when I first started the show.
Yeah.
And it's weird to now have you as a guest because...
Well, that would have been a big error. Yeah.
Well, we wanted you in the rotation, so...
Yeah.
Because you like the voice of reason to be someone who's married.
Yeah, so the person that sits with me is someone that's married, and I like to have a female perspective, too.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why we had you on, or I approached you.
Yeah.
But
And
now
your status has changed.
Now, a year later,
Yeah.
your status has changed. What happened?
Oh, geez. Well, I'm separate. That's a loaded question.
Well, I wanted to see how you
you
were.
were.
Lofty goals, Paul. No. That I'm separated right now, and from a 14-year marriage, and so we're working through that. But it was a mutual decision, and we're trying to keep everything friendly and positive, and we have 2 children, so it's been hard, and the holidays have been hard.
Yeah.
But
Does the family, does everybody know? I'm
everyone
guessing
knows.
This is one way to let them know is, here's this podcast I did.
yeah, exactly.
That's how you want to break it.
Yeah, no, everyone knows. And that was hard too,
Is everyone being supportive, or do you have family members who are like, don't you think you just work something out?
Oh.
Or are you sure about this?
Well, yeah, definite family issues have come out of this thing. with my family,
Okay.
especially. His family is great and supportive, as they always were and have been and will be. But, yeah, my family is, super fucked up. So it's all...
Were they hoping that you were the successful one that was able to maintain a relationship? Or where are they coming from?
Who knows, dude? I'm not even sure it's Earth at this point.
There's no evidence.
Or maybe, I landed here is how it feels at the moment. But, I think I come from a divorced family, and we were raised to believe that was the reason for everything that was wrong. And, that's not the case. Now, as a 36-year-old woman, I realize that isn't the case. It's not a divorce that does that. It's like emotional and narcissism and emotional abuse and all sorts of things that all of us contributed to. And so it's like I'm purging all of this stuff, and the separation is part of that. It's like, empowering myself and living the life that I want to live, as opposed to living the life others, including my family,
Right. Wow.
want for me or wanted for themselves,
Was there? So you said it's a mutual breakup, a separation. You've been together for 14. You've been married for 14 years, and I assume you dated before that for some.
Just for like 3 months.
Okay, but
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
but so
Incredible.
yeah, we'll get into that. But was it something where you realized the writing was on the wall? You guys were just not compatible, or did you guys grow apart, or was it?
Well, we started off not compatible,
Okay.
and we were just very different. And there's nothing wrong with him how he is, and there's nothing wrong with me. But when we were together, I felt like there was something wrong with me. It made me feel
Because of the way you felt.
because I felt
Sure. Oops.
I felt like I was in a situation that everybody else wanted. And so the fact that I was unhappy in that situation made me feel ungrateful and bad and depressed and angry and resentful. And I would act out and drink too much and just be an asshole. And it really had very little to do with him. Who is that?
Oh no.
Oh, someone's... Is it a date?
No, it's someone's phone. They just left.
They
in
hear
this
me
spot.
opening up. They're calling already.
I think that's Matt's phone.
Oh yeah.
It's the random phone in the office of Laugh Factory.
Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
I don't even know what I was saying. I was saying,
That you felt like you were the emotions that you were feeling in this relationship but that you didn't feel emotionally safe, is what it sounds like.
yeah, but not because of anything that he did.
Callers are calling in.
Maybe it was something he did. I think that's the universe. Every time I try and defend him, they're like, "Shut up."
Stop.
You know what?
Well, and you
It
felt like
takes
you were,
two to tango,
That's
so
right.
who knows?
And you felt like you were lashing out, hurting yourself and maybe doing things that were not helpful to other people. Is that what you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I felt like I was, and him and I have talked about this, so it's not a surprise. But, we were put in a situation. I got pregnant, okay? And he was 20, I was 21, and we had just started dating. We didn't really know each other. We had nothing really in common. We were very different, He came from Ireland, and it was like my family, and I feel like his background really influenced us having to get married.
Right. Culturally, it seemed like an imperative.
Culturally for him, and in a weird way, just sort of so I would be taken care of and safe, and they wouldn't have to deal with this, and you know what I mean? Kind of just like, you got her now, So, yeah. So then we got married. A week after I found out I was pregnant, we went to the courthouse and got married. And because he was an illegal immigrant at the time. He's a citizen now, so I can speak freely about it for the minute.
Until then, we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Until it changes.
At the airing or recording of this.
As of the airing, there's been any changing to DACA.
So, he's. So we wanted to ensure, this is post 9/11. We wanted to ensure that he wouldn't get deported. That was also a big part of it, and so we just had a courthouse thing. And
did you feel like at the time like it was a solution rather than a building a like you kind of was it very conscious that we're doing this because of these specific reasons?
That's how it felt
Right.
to me. Yeah, that was the whole thing. I thought,
Right.
For a little while, I thought like that, this. We're just like getting it on paper and stuff, but then
Being
it was
practical about it.
Yeah, but like then it wasn't that way. So I was so nervous. Like when I got married, I got sick the night we got married, and I had like the stomach flu. I was like puking at his house. It was awful. And I had lived at home with my mom. And so I went back to my mom's because I was sick with the flu, like the stomach flu. Like,
Right.
I'm like shitting, puking. I'm like, oh my God, like this guy has never even seen me naked. He had never even seen me fully naked.
Right.
And like so I went to my mom's and I was there for like 2 weeks. And then finally he was like, are you coming back? And I was like,
because I really want to stay in this country.
No, he's
no.
like, are you all right? And I was just nervous. I was a wreck, dude.
Sure.
I was like, what is going on?
Well, you're so young too.
And it was
that's
so
a lot
quick.
to be dealing with.
Right,
at,
yeah.
At a young age.
And P.S. I'm pregnant,
Right.
that was something I was in shock about too. So, this is very cathartic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And
Did it become romantic? I mean, like after getting married, getting through all being
Yeah.
sick while you were pregnant, did it become romantic?
yes.
14 years is a long time.
Yeah.
For any
I mean,
relationship.
we had really good times, like, there were times, especially towards the end, weirdly, like it was probably the best it had ever been. And then
Was that because you knew that it was ending, or was it because?
I think we just had grown up, and, when you spend that much time with someone, it is in a lot of ways unhealthy codependency, but also, there's a genuine like family love. I forget
Right.
which one of the types of love that is, but I forget the name of it. But it's like not a sexual desirable, not that we didn't have sex, we did, but he had a family member, his dad passed away, and understandably that he was going through the grieving stage, and it just it was kind of like, it felt like for both of us, we talked about, his dad picked me out of a crowd. Okay, his dad, let me back up.
When you met, you mean?
When we met, we were at a bar that I worked at, McNally's Irish Pub, and we had kissed a few times, but then he went away, and the phone.
Another phone. They're trying to get to
Anytime,
us.
yeah. We
Yeah.
start talking about.
I mean,
Your
maybe I shouldn't be
relationship,
talking
yep.
about it. No, but
He picked you out.
yeah, so Eamon and I, that's my husband's name, Eamon and I had made out a few times, right? But then things got weird and we didn't talk and we were shy around each other. Well, then his father was in for his brother's wedding from Ireland. And we were all at the bar, but I was not with them. I was just there because I worked there. My friends hung out there. And I walked by and his dad said, that would be a good woman for you right there.
Did Dad know that you guys had already
No.
made out? Oh, wow.
No,
Wow,
yeah.
that's interesting.
And so I think that really that made an effect on him.
Sure.
Of course, wouldn't it, to anyone?
Yeah.
Right, someone you already made out with.
Right, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to. My dad just picked her
Somebody
out.
that
Like
you
I'm
look
gonna
up to
get,
is-
I'm gonna
right,
get her.
right.
Yeah, and his dad is his hero. So, I think that was part of it, and then, so when his dad passed away recently, it was like something that had been building, and we always knew that we were, growing apart. We had nothing in common.
Right.
Nothing, And my daughter, when we told her that we were separating, she's 13. She was like, finally, jeez. And I was like, what? And she's like, well, 3 years ago, I asked you what you and Dad have in common, and it took you 10 minutes.
Right. Wow.
And you mumbled Johnny Cash and walked out the door. And so for 3 years, she's been waiting for the news, I'm sure.
No, come back.
Oh,
closer.
I thought you wanted my gum.
She got very relaxed. She's like, I'm just going to sit back
Oh,
here.
she was trying to look for
sorry.
a place to hide her gum.
I'm
Throw it in the
trying to
plant
throw
thing.
it
No one
away.
knows.
Here, I'll find a piece of
I'm put it
Oh,
in
we're
the
good.
planter. Okay.
So,
well,
but
it's in the planter.
but that's the thing, though. But a lot of times, and speaking from my parents, that they're still together for 50 years, I think, but they should have been divorced like 43
my
years
parents.
ago.
My parents definitely should.
And it's funny because like you just said that as a parent, like you're like, oh, how did they know? It's like, and for my parents, they were fighting all the time, and I know a lot of my friends whose parents are still married that should have been fucking
Oh, yeah.
divorced
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, your parents are still together? They're like, yeah, I mean, but why? Like,
Yeah.
so, and it doesn't sound like you even had that kind of tension. You were just different people.
Yeah. There wasn't any outward fighting. I mean, over the years, there was a lot of passive aggressive, tit for tat.
You start building resentment that way.
Oh,
yeah.
And there was a lot of that. Like, you stay out till 1. Okay, I'll stay out till 1:30 then on my night out. It was a
Yeah.
lot of that kind of stuff. And then we kind of got over that. When I quit drinking, a lot of that stopped. And then, but it just, there's nothing clicking. Like, we don't have any of the same interests or opinions on things.
Right.
And it's very hard to share with someone that you really won't get it the same, or
Sure.
or you just assume that, and so then at some point you guys stop trying, and that's what we did. We stopped trying.
Has this affected your outlook on what marriage is? In other words, do you want to get married again, or have you even thought of something
Oh
like that?
man, dude, I don't even know. I mean, it's so
Right.
new. I'm not even divorced yet.
Sure.
But do I believe in the concept? Is that
Yeah.
what you're asking? I believe that it depends on the people and the
And the
chemistry
circumstances, because
yeah,
your circumstances didn't lend itself for
No, my circumstances didn't lend itself for a
Successful.
6-month relationship, let
Right.
alone a 14-year
Right.
marriage. But yeah, so it's not a failure in our eyes, and that's what we're trying to,
That's such a great way to think of it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
isn't.
It's
Well,
not
no,
a
of
failure.
course not. I mean, you have 2 beautiful kids out of it, right?
Oh, absolutely, and
And now you can go to Ireland whenever you want, because you have to take your daughters or your kids to go visit relatives.
well, we would go all
Yeah.
the time, yeah, and I got to go and see that part of the world and meet those wonderful people, and a lot of good came out of it, So no regrets on that, but I do think that relationships need to have more than sex, a good sex life. I feel like, because we had that on a lot of levels, but then when he was, at some point it was like the pilot light went out for both of us at the same time, and it was just like we could not. And I'm talking recent, like it was just there, done.
Wow.
And it was crazy. I don't know how it happened. And finally, this was the kicker. Okay, the kids went away for the weekend, and it was just us two. And we ended up sleeping for 19 hours. Your face.
Wow. I don't know if that sounds amazing or like maybe you had a fever. I'm not sure.
It was just because we didn't have anything to say.
Really?
And so then we got up and ate Thai food and then went back to bed. And when we woke up again, I looked at him and I was like, this is not working. And he was like, yeah. And
wow.
So
you needed a 19-hour nap to be able to be like, okay.
Yeah, because we had this whole weekend together, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
Because we didn't ever want to really hang out. It wasn't like we couldn't. It was just like we didn't have.
Could have seen a Johnny Cash cover band or something. Maybe.
I mean, it got to the point that I love Johnny Cash. I can't even listen to him anymore.
Oh, no. And we have to get that back for you, at least.
And Eamon's the same, because he even brought that up first. And I was like, you're right. Like, I skip over it now because it's just, we played it out. Because it was all we had, Oh. Like, when we go on car rides to my parents, like, way out west, that's what we would listen to because we would fight otherwise. Like, he would hate what I was listening to, and I hated what he was listening to. And so then we all started putting headphones on in the car to listen to our own styles of music. I mean,
so
that's
you're disconnecting.
There's only so much Johnny Cash out there.
Well, I mean, that's so disconnected
right.
and messed up. But it was just like we couldn't.
Johnny Cash was the duct tape holding your relationship together?
Yes. That's very well put.
Just thinking about it.
I mean, yeah. But no, I mean, it was fear and duty for the most part. Fear, duty, guilt, all those.
Those are hard to get by, too. It's hard to move past those. And
you
have.
So you were in a relationship for 14 years, and now you're on the verge of not being in a relationship again, and for the first time in a long time. Are you scared? Are you hopeful? Are you just like you haven't even thought that far ahead?
I've thought a lot about that actually, and I don't really know at this point. Mm-hmm. I know what I would like eventually, but at this point I'm just gonna let go and see where I go.
That makes sense.
What happens?
But you're in a great place in your career, and
Thank you.
And I'm just saying, like, being someone that's always single and kind of intentionally, do you feel that it allows you to kind of focus on, I'm going to work on my craft now? And have you noticed a change in your ability to kind of focus on things like that, or is it not really?
Well, I mean, what the truth of the matter is like I focus on things that maybe like are a little too far out for other people. I feel like I might be a little too much for people all the time, and I need like isolation, for myself. So I do think that it is good. The separation is good because I feel like I need that time, and I feel like people need that time away from my intensity, I would suppose. Right. It's not that I'm like evil or something or like abusive physically or crazy person, but I am like a lot to handle, I think, emotionally and just to be around. But that's what I'm learning, and I'm people are a lot for me to be around too, so it's helping me with my craft. But right now my craft is like figuring out how to love healthy and love myself and demand the respect and boundaries that I deserve and all that jazz, so I'm just doing that.
And that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. That is like,
emotionally.
it is my full-time job right now, and it's like exhausting. And then I feel like, oh man, I didn't do anything. Well, I painted a picture. I did a little bit.
You're taking care of yourself,
I'm playing the guitar and just like don't know the chords. I'm just like strumming. My neighbors are probably annoyed.
It's an acoustic
they'll
guitar,
live.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. So
Yeah,
as long
yeah.
as there's not an amp involved, you'll be fine.
There will be now.
Yeah. Now, piss them off. Are you? Have you? Well, you haven't gone on any of that. You don't even know the app site. Have you done any of
No,
those
I'm
things
not.
yet?
I'm gonna try. I mean, I'm sure everyone says I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna try not to because I
Okay.
feel like, no, that's a bad way to go, man.
Do you talk about this? Have you started talking about your break on stage or anything yet?
I have a few times, but I was talking to Rena Calm, who's a good friend of all of ours,
Also
Yeah.
done the
and
show many
great
times.
comedian. And we were talking about that last night, and she gave me some great advice, and she was like, you don't have to rush into that, because I was kind of trying just to like rip that Band-Aid off, which is usually what I do, is like
Just get in there.
get in there, man, just say it, at least say it once and come back to it, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And so I was doing a lot of that, just ripping the Band-Aids off real quick, and then I'll come back.
And
I'll
then deal
circle
with
back
it.
when I'm, not as raw. But she was like, don't do that. She's like, just give yourself some time. And she was right. And I needed that. I need people to tell me what's up, I appreciate that so much.
Are you talking about your separation on stage yet?
Well, that's what I mean.
That's what I
Like,
I was going to say, no, but I mean, like, as far as people coming up to you afterwards. And,
like a few times that I have talked about it.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there's such a vibe when you first decide you're like free or single in your mind, kind of, that people pick up on. And it's like the first 2 weeks, it was crazy. Like I was getting hit on in like
See, that's
hotel
what I was wondering.
lobbies.
That's what I was
Yeah.
getting at too. Like if it's
so you have, even like
if
when
you
you
bring
people,
it up,
if you don't bring it up, it sounds like you were already like people were coming out from your energy almost.
It's the energy of like, first of all, not giving a fuck
Right.
if like anyone talks to you or not. I think that's the main thing
It
that
seems like
they're
you seem like-
smelling.
You seem like a challenge.
right.
Yep.
And then also I've been working on trying to be open, and so I think that combination was like a little too much. I kind of had to close it off because it was like I felt vulnerable,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, we're already
I
vulnerable.
feel like
on
I'm
stage
saying
now.
so much. Sorry,
I'm saying
listeners.
sure every time, like, and I'm like, yes, I do. You're fine.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Well, what? Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Now, I wonder. See, if you do kind of pull off the Band-Aids and you do start talking about it, I feel like you're gonna be dealing with a bunch of shit with people after shows if you are out there talking to people, because then that brings a whole nother can. Like, are you ready to start dealing with people after shows that are hitting on you, and
Yeah, weirdly,
especially when you're on the road and stuff like that?
yeah, that is a concern of mine. And I've had, weirder experiences in the past, even as a married woman, after shows. And yeah, it's a concern, but also, I don't really, that's part of the reason, not because people hit on me, but because of what I talk about on stage. People have this notion that,
They know
they
you.
can be real kind of
Comfortable
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a word for it, or
Yeah, 'cause
crude, even, because I'm crude up there
on stage, right?
and then it's like, yeah, but when I'm off stage and it's just me, then when a strange guy comes up to me and starts talking about my pussy,
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Is it-
like, whoa, hey, I
And
don't
they think
feel
it's
cool
okay
with
because
that.
you just talked about it on stage.
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't understand, but they don't get
Because they're drunk,
the
they don't
boundary.
get it. Right. They think I'm like
That's
some
what I'm getting
character.
at. Is
Yeah.
On stage, you have this raunchy personality, but guys don't understand the separation. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, fuck you. You can't.
That's my
talk to me.
fault.
Right.
Totally.
Well, it's not your fault.
No,
It's your
no. It's
stage persona.
Right. I mean, but that is the one that I chose to do.
Right.
So, what I end up doing is, because I don't feel like changing what I do up there yet, and I don't feel like dealing with them yet.
You shouldn't.
Then
Yeah.
I just bounce,
Yeah,
you know?
you don't have to stay after this.
Yeah, no, I don't shake hands. You know, sometimes I do. I keep saying, you know, sometimes I do. But if I'm around other comics and I
so
feel
it's more
safe
comfortable.
and it's all, you know, or I feel like it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, to be honest, I'm not doing it. I will never do that out of an obligation because that is a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah.
You know, if you're
you don't enjoy
shaking hands and dead inside, then go home.
Right. No, I totally get it. I shake hands when I'm dead inside all the time after shows. I'm like, why am I even talking to these people? I didn't even have a good set.
Yeah.
But it's
it
like
makes
part
you
of the
feel
hustle.
bad.
No, I do. It does ruin a night in some ways, so that makes sense. But for you, what I'm saying is, you shouldn't have to change what you do on stage.
No.
The common what you're doing is great. Is saying, fuck, I don't have to sit around and shake hands if I don't feel like talking to people, or if you feel like, you know, they're going to be a person that's not going to understand that, hey, this is my shtick on stage. You can't say the word pussy when I'm off stage to me. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Am I right?
Oh, I mean, I put them in their place.
Yeah.
I don't just, you know.
Right. But still,
you know me.
Oh, I
But-
do.
Well, that sounded weird.
No. I just mean I've been to shows where you've literally told people to fuck off, and
Yeah.
it's been the most fun thing to watch.
Thank you.
What about online? What's your social media stuff where people can find you?
Kristen Toomey. Kristen Toomey on everything. Just
Awesome.
what it says on their phone right now.
Kristen Toomey
Oh,
on
it's spelled.
everything.
On everything. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Kristen. And thanks, Patti, as
Thank
always,
you.
for being the voice of reason. My name is Paul Farahvar. Thanks, Mike, for helping make us sound good. And that's another episode of Singles Only.